the doors being shut, and stood in the midst and said, peace be unto you. That's in verse 26. So it's 27. Then saith he to Thomas, notice this, I want you to highlight verse 27, is huge. Reach hither thy finger. He says, behold my hands. He says, reach here. Reach hither thy hand. He says, now watch this. I want you to look at the language. It's very strong language. Thrust it into my side. And don't be faithless, but believing. He says, thrust. Don't touch gingerly. Don't be gentle with it. Notice the language. He says, thrust into my side. He says, don't be soft with it. This is huge. His language is important. I want you to look at verse 27. I want you to touch my. Don't talk. Don't look at it. Don't be gingerly. Don't be gentle with it. Behold my hands. You see that? Behold them. Don't just look at them. Just examine them. Reach your hand and thrust it into my side. Why is he using such language? Because he wants you to understand something. Remember, he gets up with all power in his hands. He does have the power to heal his own wounds. He gets up with a resurrected body. He gets up with all power in his hands. People of God, the question remains, why is he still with his same scars? Why is he up, walking around as the resurrected Jesus, still with wounded hands, still with nail-scarred hands, and a pierced side wound? Why not? We say, you got up with all power in your hand. You conquered death, hell, sin, and the grave. Why not just heal your own wounds? Why not just heal your side? I mean, wouldn't that make sense? When you get up with a resurrected body, why not just show off? This is my future. This is where I am now. I mean, this is after all what everyone is preaching. Forget those things which are behind. No, because Jesus is really wanting them to know. You can have wounds and still not be wounded. You can have scars and still not be scarred. You can have been hurt. You could have been hurt, but still not be hurting. Just because you have scars doesn't mean you are scarred. Just because you have wounds don't mean that you're walking around wounded. The notion is that people say all the time, hurt people hurt people. Yeah, there's some credence to that. I want to argue this. Hurt people who haven't been healed hurt people. But hurt people who've been healed help to heal people through their hurts. Because Jesus isn't just Jehovah, God isn't just Jehovah Rapha, or Christ in the earth is Jehovah Rapha. But he is the wounded healer. He isn't just our healer. He's the wounded healer. These wounds become entry points and portals through which the healing virtue flow. My point is, if he would have gotten up from the grave without the scars, how will we know that was the same Jesus? If he would have gotten up from the grave without the scars, how will we know that this was not just someone doubling as Jesus, pretending to be Jesus? No, you get up from the grave with the same wounds and the same scars to validate the fact that it was you that was once crucified. The fact that he still had the scars validated that it was that same Jesus. That's the one who was hanging on the cross. Without the scars, how do you know it wasn't a replacement or a substitute or a stunt double or another? You know it was him because it's what he has the wounds to prove he was there. If we let go of the past, what's the proof that we were there? Our testimony is the proof we were there. Our testimony says, yeah, I was wounded, but I'm not wounded. I'm not walking around wounded. Yeah, I was hurt, but I'm not walking around hurt. Just because I was victimized doesn't mean I'm a victim. Just because I was abused doesn't mean that